2. Meditation is what we are, not what we do. It is not possible to find this presence of awareness or to know it as an object. To begin with, we may try to find or know it in the same way that we would find or know a thought, feeling, sensation, or perception. But it cannot be found as any kind of object. The only way to know it is to be it. Awareness knows itself simply by being itself. That is why our self, awareness, is sometimes said to be nothing, not a thing, not an object, not a thought, feeling, sensation, or perception. It is sometimes said to be empty, transparent, or void. Such words are meant to evoke the experiential realization that what we essentially are cannot be found, felt, known, seen, or experienced as any kind of object, however subtle, not even the subtlest feeling of being. At the same time, when experience appears, that is, when thinking, sensing, or perceiving appear, it is utterly pervaded by the knowing of it. All there is to a thought is the experience of thinking, and all there is to thinking is the knowing of it. That knowing is this transparent, empty awareness that is our self, this no thing. This empty, aware, no thing takes the shape of the experience of thinking, just like the empty screen takes the shape of the fullness of the image. The fullness of the image is made of the emptiness of the screen. The fullness of experience, thinking, sensing, and perceiving, is made of the emptiness of pure knowing, pure awareness. We are this empty, knowing presence. All there is to a thought, sensation, or perception is the knowing of it, the experiencing of it. And that is what we are. So this empty nothing turns out to be the fullness of everything. We are not simply an empty nothing, an empty no-thingness. We are that, but that is the substance, the reality, the stuff out of which all experience is made. As such, we are everything. Wherever we look, we find only ourself. If we look around at the outside world, all we find is the experience of seeing. And the only substance present in the experience of seeing is the knowing of it. That pure knowing is ourself. It is only abstract thought that separates out a seer in here, the body, and the seen out there in the so-called world. With that thought alone, the inside self and the outside world come into apparent existence. But experience is not composed of these two essential ingredients: a subject, me, on the inside, and an object called the world or other on the outside. These are just an abstraction that thought superimposes onto the reality and intimacy of all experience. Experience itself is much more intimate than that. It is not composed of two parts, Advaita, not two. Locate yourself nowhere. Find yourself everywhere. The separate self, the imaginary separate self, is made of the thought that imagines that I, awareness, the light of pure knowing, am located in and limited to this little body-mind. With that belief alone, a separate self comes into apparent existence. And it is on behalf of this imaginary self that most of us lead our lives, thinking, feeling, acting and relating on behalf of a self that doesn't exist. The experience of unhappiness is the signal that comes from the intelligence of the body-mind to indicate that we have made a mistake, that we have mistaken ourselves for a cluster of thoughts and feelings located in and as a body-mind. Suffering is to the mind what pain is to the body. A signal that something needs attending to. A message that we have mistaken ourselves for a cluster of thoughts and feelings. In other words, suffering is not here to thwart us. It is not a punishment. On the contrary, it is here to help us. It is a wake-up call. To begin with, it is a gentle call. But in time, it gets more and more severe. However, irrespective of its intensity, the wake-up call is always saying the same thing. We have mistaken ourselves for a cluster of thoughts and feelings. We have overlooked or forgotten who we truly are. The separate self is not what we are. It is an activity of thinking and feeling. Meditation is not what we do. It is what we are. Simply to be knowingly this open, empty, aware presence. And to find this presence at the heart of all experience. Intimately one with it. And yet, at the same time, unharmable, indestructible, utterly free. When we first